Well, Victoria 3 confirmed, Victoria 3 hype, Victoria 3 delivered. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here. Welcome to our first look, video-wise, at Victoria 3. Out now with the link down below in the description. You can pick it up yourself today if you'd like to. And keep in mind, today's episode is sponsored by Paradox, the makers of Victoria 3, and many other great games just like it. If you're a big fan of Hearts of Iron 4 and also Anno 1800, that's the two games that I've played that I could equate to this, but of course it is a Paradox title and thus very similar to many other games like Crusader Kings and also EU4 and much, much more. A game that focuses on economics and culture and religion and building a big empire and building those empires bigger with industrialization. Lead yourself a colony to freedom, lead a charge in the Civil War as the United States, or perhaps reunite Germany or unite Germany for the first time, or, well, it depends on how things go several times. But this game is really interesting, and I've never played any game like it, never played any of the previous titles, and I've got to say I was really intrigued by watching a lot of the developer footage and also playing a little bit myself recently, and now having a few hours under my belt, I wanted to share with you a few of the things about Victoria 3 that I thought were special, and I would love to provide an opportunity for all of you experts or intermediates or anybody who knows a thing or two about Victoria 3, probably knows a lot more than me, so please do share what you know down below, tips and tricks and helpful hints for everybody who might be getting started for the first time. Whether you're a pro or a noob, it is certainly recommended to try out some of the things here that the developers have offered for the first time under Learn the Game. Now, keep in mind that pretty much this game is a sandbox simulator where you can do anything from 1836 up to 1936. But there'll be a cavalcade of mods coming to add all sorts of different scenarios and nations and different features, I'm sure, in due time. But for now, you can start as any nation in 1836 that existed and then lead them all the way to just before the Second World War. There are aircraft in the game and tanks, and of course you can do all the things that you could have in World War I, eventually through technology and research. And one of the cool things here is that, of course, you can start as any nation you'd like to, but you can also learn the game as Sweden, Belgium, Chile, and a Cape Colony, and then also do as you wish, as it's kind of just a helpful hints and tips and tricks as you play. So if you'd like to just play as Sweden, you can go here for a quick start, read some of the hints and tips and tricks that they give you, but it is completely on to you whether you want to go to war or whether you want to do like enlightening the lives of Swedes or all of Scandinavians. Unite Scandinavia perhaps and enrich their lives to become one of the wealthiest parts of the world. Who knows? It's all up to you. But anyway, Belgium, Sweden, Chile, Cape Colonies are all recommended for learning the game, as they kind of have some advantages of staying out of the limelight and really generating a lot of money by trading with powers that might fight each other, or focusing on more diplomatic approaches, or even some things to do with culture, or in the case of the Cape Colonies, kind of getting away from the leadership that runs them and becoming independent. There's even economic dominance campaigns, which will be quite interesting as the United States trying to be the United States Union versus the Confederacy during the Civil War, or possibly having a different Civil War, different states involved. Perhaps the Confederacy would be bigger or smaller, or perhaps the North will be the Confederacy. Who knows? Things can go all sorts of different ways, but the goal there is economic dominance as the United States, Great Britain, Ottoman Empire, or Brazil. And then, of course, you can bring your nation up to absolute dominance economically and possibly militarily, as of course you have a lot of things to pay for, as you have to maintain that power too. But if you want to conquer the world, the word here is complete domination. Subjugate, conquer, whatever you want to call it, that is up to you as playing as Prussia, Spain, the Japanese shogunate, or Egypt. And of course you can do this as any nation. Anything I've mentioned so far you can do as any nation and learn the ropes and or have your first world conquest campaign or economic dominance campaign. Or what I find to be quite interesting too, an egalitarian society where you can actually enrich the lives of your people and make it one of the greatest countries in the world for the standard of living. So do that as France, Russia, the Great Qing Dynasty, or Mexico. And of course, you can do this as any nation, as you'd like to. So play as some random African nation, or play as Cuba, or whatnot. Conquer the world and do as you'd like in Victoria 3. Right, well, anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our first look then at some of the things I've learned with Sweden so far. We're going to jump into a save, but real quick, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Thank you very much for spamming glory to Raptoria down below in the comment section. So many of you do that, so thank you very much for doing that. Thank you again for subscribe and leaving a like and becoming members. And of course, check out that link in the description. All right, let's jump in to Victoria 3. Let's go. And by the way, it's out now. You know that, right? Okay, let's go. Well, finally, welcome to the world map. It looks like a battle's popping off at Hanover between Prussia and Russia. Both sides here fighting it out. And do I hear more cannons nearby? Yes, I do. Between Prussia and Bremen, continuing the Battle of Hanover here in the western side. You can actually listen to that. Sound effects really nice. And the music, too. You can hear the distant rumble of cannons as they fire back and forth. You can see cities ablaze here, and the war is popping off as no man's land in different types of cities and industrial areas are engulfed in flames. Oh yeah, wow, yeah, indeed. Over here to the wow, Frankfurt is in flames, in ruins. It's completely ablaze. Wow. Well, thankfully for us, we're playing as Sweden, so we're actually funding this war. Sneaky. We're actually exporting a lot of iron from the north of Sweden, Hejasvaria, down to Stockholm and southern areas of Scania, across to Prussia. We're actually trading with Prussia, France, and Great Britain right now in the hopes that they might actually go to war, as we're trading iron ore with them, and a bunch of other stuff too. We've got basically wood and a few other things going, and we're starting with just raw materials, but we're spending all that money we're getting from them to invest in our railroad. Now, it looks like things are bad for us right now, but we've actually been building a lot of railroads in the south and in the central sections to get more of that iron ore down to the ports quickly, and or the factories for preparation to turn iron ore into steel in the future. So we're really waiting for a return on investment. You'll see the number bop up here really quickly in time. So let's go ahead and speed things up here a little bit to speed 1 and take a look at the world map. So we saw Austria and France and Great Britain here, our trading partners, in action, and it looks like Prussia is at war with a few sections here. Well, you know, battle for Hanover in a few different areas, and so they're pushing north and pushing east and west, trying to get that area as they push through there, and it's good to see our trading partner doing some good stuff. Here we got Russia, and of course they still have Alaska over in the North American section. We got the Hudson Bay Company, the United States of America, Mexico in North America, and also a surviving tribe. Looks like the forces here just in the, I guess, western section of Idaho, this independent capital state, or city-state, I suppose you could say, an independent peoples. And we've got a few colonies here of the Netherlands, Great Britain, and France, just north of Brazil with other nations here. Peru and Bolivia, Chile in the south. Things are looking interesting. Wow, we can hear the fire wherever we are. You know what's a great thing about this game, too, which I really enjoyed seeing, is that for example, China, you can actually see the Great Wall of China, and I believe it could be used as a defensive structure, too. Yeah, you can actually see it here, and I believe forces, if they do attack, might have to pass through sections of the wall that have been damaged. Now, in 1850, there's probably nothing stopping them from blowing through the wall if they needed to, but it's really cool that the Great Wall of China is actually present, as well as a few things in India, too. Any sort of major national landmark, as far as I could tell, is here. So, for example, in India, we have the Taj Mahal around here somewhere. And is that it right there? Yeah, Taj Mahal right here. And then, of course, we also could possibly see the Statue of Liberty, which is in New York, which doesn't yet exist, but will be delivered to the United States later on, so long as things go according to history. And France, for example, can get the Eiffel Tower in Paris whenever that gets around to being constructed. But we have ourselves some freaking trains, and that looks amazing. So a lot of world landmarks are actually here, and a lot of world lakes and Grand Canyons and things like that are also present. But man, look at that. The British doing a great job of industrializing and sending clippers out immediately and connecting all those sections of the UK, I guess. Or really, as they say, Great Britain. So, yeah. Now, no Parliament building for London. That's a shame, but I hope that they add more large landmarks. Even more. They've done a good job. I was actually surprised to see that. So, anyway, back to Sweden we go. We've got convoys rolling through here. The Danish Straits. We've got ships delivering iron ore and such to many different nations. We're also delivering rye. We're improving our production of rye bread from some of our farms. And this is what's really cool about this game, too, is that there's an incredible amount of complicated information here, and they do a really good job in this game of separating where to find it. So you just kind of have to learn what you can do, how to do it, and then where to find it. So there's really a limited amount of areas that you can look, even if you don't know where something is. And just simply by hovering over it, you can find lenses, for example, that show you things like, for example, your agricultural output, or where your resources are, and you can easily do things like build another lead mine by just literally clicking here. There's a few different ways to do a few different things, so that's pretty helpful. Looks like we have a quick event here. Yeah, a random event. The industrialists are complaining about farms that are inefficient. Okay, let's go ahead and continue to attract people to those areas to get more workers to work on those farms. We can also take a look at things like, for example, our laws, or our political lens, which allows us to set decrees, like, for example, road maintenance, which we've done all over the country, so that way we can speed up our export of iron ore to the southern sections, and also the wood, too, to the logging mills, and also over here at the smaller islands to produce fish faster and ship that over to wherever it needs to go. Eventually, we'll do canneries, and that will be quite good for us. Stir-strumming, anyone? All right, looks like we also have large amounts of diplomatic plays that we can do inside of each section, and we also have diplomatic actions too. As we go on, we're getting access to more and more plays that we can make. So as we take a look here at the regional actions or diplomatic plays or diplomatic actions, yeah, you can see that we can research a lot more stuff. And also take a look at our big O trades, so we can see our trade partners who we're trading with, exporting and importing from, and things are going quite good so far. Now, we're starting to make money again as a lot of our projects are nearing completion and or are finishing. The great thing about completing a factory, for example, is A, once a factory is complete, we no longer are spending money on the construction of it, and then B, once the construction is complete, it goes to actually make us money. So it's kind of a double positive, as long as we end up in the positive, if you know what I mean. So we have ourselves some politics to look at for Sweden here. We have our king and our major powers here, the landowners and the Church of Sweden. And then we can also see clout, which apparently will be very important in the internet in the future years, whatever that is. And yeah, we have ourselves a breakdown of the government and armed forces and whatnot. So there's a lot of complicated things here, a lot of things to look at, but made much more simple by the menus on the left side. So I gotta give some kudos to the development team for making a very complicated and complex game that's well organized and categorized, so that way you can easily find things. They did a pretty good job. Well, we can take a look at our budget, military wages, buildings that we've built in each of the sections, and we can easily filter through rural buildings versus development buildings like ports and naval bases, and also construction sectors, which will help us to build things and bring workers to the site in order to construct them. And then, of course, we have our market, which is an amazing and a major part of this game, of course, doing all sorts of different exports of things like staple goods. Then we have more industrial goods, luxury goods, and even more military goods, which we can export too. I forgot to mention, not only are we exporting steel, but I should say we're exporting steel in the form of artillery and also small arms. So not just raw iron ore. We're essentially exporting everything we can to make as much money as quickly as possible to take advantage of this war and or any other wars that pop off. And so we're trying to basically get those weapons factories churning as quickly as possible. Now, we've also done some pretty good moves to industrialize the center of the country, everything but the far northern sections up here. And we're also in kind of like a political union with Norway, although we can't really do anything with Norway at the moment. We can't, like, for example, give them an order to build anything. Like, we can't really give them an order to increase the amount of shipyards that they have. It's not allowed at the moment. So we're kind of buddy-buddy, but can't really do anything, you know? Kind of like they're the neighbor, and we're friendly, but we really can't tell them what to do. And, of course, Finland over here, kind of occupied at the moment, I suppose. But maybe one day they could break away and, you know, we can help them to do that and possibly unify all of Scandinavia. That'd be kind of cool. Also the Baltic states as well, maybe making some sort of new weird Nordic Scandinavian superpower, the Baltic states included. Something like that. Just redefine things and take over. Okay, well, let's go ahead and continue to speed things up here. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking advantage of the war that we saw popping off before. Now, if we play as Prussia, we can certainly go to war pretty early as we're taking over a lot of the smaller capital states, that's what it is, and sections around us, regions. We can take those over with ease, especially with our military might, or with Austria as well. We can kind of push into the south if we want to, take over Serbia, or maybe even go to war with the Ottoman Empire. These are all possibilities, but we need strong economic partners to do that. So if we played as Austria, Prussia, France, or Great Britain, we certainly would want like Sweden, Russia, Spain as allies, just to either keep them out of the fight or to supply us with materials we need to stay in it. So Frankfurt's still ablaze, yeah, and there's a lot of turmoil going on there. Oh boy. All right, well, fairly soon we should have some more quick time events coming up, meaning that they, take a quick amount of time to resolve. And there goes our trains now, connecting the country even further. Before we just were connected between the areas of Scania at the south. Then we pushed up the western coast, and now it looks like most of the country is connected via rail line for the southern sections of the city. Obviously, not going to do rail over here since it's just a little horse and buggy ride away from the nearest industries. But eventually we'll build more and more and more steel and lead mines up here in order to then push all that material back down to the south and start shipping that out to other nations like France, Great Britain, and Prussia, and possibly even the United States. It really doesn't matter who we partner with. We can just keep on trucking. All right, the cool thing, too, is whenever we don't really know what we're going to do here, we can either go to our journal, which will always try to help guide us with different types of goals. We can make major decisions, which could be major things that we could go down the line and do, like, for example, hold a grand expedition or map the American Western frontier. Or in this case, we can improve access to consumer goods, which is kind of what we're doing right now with building the railroads. Looks like grain in the Swedish market is less than 25% more expensive than base price. Looks like we just did it. So good job. We just completed that one just literally by the railroads existing. It magically resolved itself. So good job, Sweden. Solving problems that don't even exist, really. So now we can bolster an investment group. And a great thing here in the learning is, of course, you can hover over tooltips and learn what everything does. You can ask to be guided or ask to be told why you're doing something or how you're doing something and how long it'll take. And you can learn about each type of definition and what that means within the game. So what are interest groups and how do they bolster the rocky road ahead, that kind of thing. And so you just need to do that for 26 weeks. And you can go on a tutorial in how to do that and read through everything. We're just going to kind of rush through some of these things for now, but at least we'll get our goal and be told how to do it. So they want us to open the politics tab, and then they want us to go to overview and take a look at the different types of things that can be bolstered for these groups. So interest groups down here at the bottom, the landowners and the Church of Sweden. We can also reform our government if we want to and do those types of things. So yeah, pretty good. Let's go ahead and go back though. And we'll go ahead and put this to the side for now. So anyway, things are going quite well for us, money-wise at least. We have over, what, $1.1 million in gold reserves. So things are going quite good, and you can kind of see things skyrocketing as we're completing our railroads. And the great expenses of building a railroad are basically nullified, and now we're taking advantage of all those ticket sales. Another great thing about this game, too, that I really, really think is spectacular is that we can upgrade things in sections, like in tiers. So we can take a look here at our railroads, and not only can we build more railroads, like we can expand the railway by investing in it, 2.93 right there for the predicted earnings, which is going to cost us for the investment of building it. But we can also make it better by, instead of investing in the railroad directly, we can do different types of things for, and this applies to a lot of buildings where we can kind of buy special items for them that aren't necessarily special, but we can step up from steam trains to electric or diesel, and that will then lower the material cost because we'll use something more affordable, and then of course we'll make more money because it could be more reliable or faster or just have a lower maintenance cost overall. We just completed some research here. That's what popped up on the screen. So we'll take a look at the research that's going on shortly as well. But not only can we do that for the trains where we're selecting the type of locomotive for the region, we can also select what they're going to prioritize. So cargo or passenger carriages or steel carriages, which could give us more money, increase safety, that type of thing. And then we could choose to either do a privately owned or a government-run railroad to start with, and or change some of those things based on our economic policies. So there's a lot of little ways to spend a little bit of money that will make a big difference. You just got to look for them and know where to find them. And so, of course, you can kind of customize each region to their needs and not really overspend where you don't have to. So if you've got let's say you have a small island that's got some very valuable resources on it, like oil, and you need to get that to a port via train, then you can spend on some faster trains to get it to port faster and start exporting to wherever you need to go, which is a good thing. Okay, well, let's go ahead, and we also get goals like enacting censorship and some other things that we can do, but those are like kind of special requests that we'll kind of ignore for now. So let's go ahead and on-track the bolster groups, think we can skip that lesson for now. We're just kind of, going through and taking a look at everything. But yes, the journal will always be our stop for things that we can do and or learn about, or main goals that we can focus on. So now they want us to start doing paper importing and branching out, urbanizing Sweden, and working on central affairs. Well, to be honest, we're making a ton of lumber already and a ton of paper from that, logs essentially. And so I think instead of setting up a paper import, we'll just increase our paper production and start exporting paper. That'd be a great thing for us to do. But we can learn all about our population too, and all their different needs for any nation. We can also see where we are within our standing. So, like for example, here we can see the population in Swedeland, and we can take a look at our overall nation population too. Yeah, so we can see that we're up over 3 million Swedes now. We can see how many of them are capitalists and shopkeepers and peasants. How many of them are of Swedish heritage, Norwegian, or Finnish? I believe you can even see their religion. So I believe we, we have a breakdown of that in their regions too. Yeah, so you can actually see that some of these are Protestant here. Looks like everybody's Protestant. Wow, 100% Protestant in Sweden. But you can see here Jewish, Catholic, and Protestant in parts of Prussia, and parts of the like the Netherlands, Belgium, France, where it all breaks down to their heritage and to their culture and their religion. So it's so cool that you can not only see a breakdown of a whole country, but also a breakdown of its individual regions, which is pretty helpful. If we take a look at our ranking too, we can see who number one of the world is. Sweden, not too bad at 15, staying out of some wars and coming from basically farming and mining to then trying to industrialize and supply countries like Austria and Russia, and I think we've also traded with Great Britain, France, and the Qing dynasty before. But you can see population numbers and whether they're on the incline or decline. You can also see GDPs and prestige and other things here. Look at this. Great Britain with 2,600, almost twice than some of the other ones in, like, some of these don't even come close, like Austria and like Russia down here with like 767. So but yeah, you can see their GDP outputs, which are pretty good too. And you can kind of find yourself in that list and find out who your nearest enemy is. In this case, Japan, Brazil, not going to really affect us too much. Maybe the Ottoman Empire, maybe the Netherlands. We'll have to keep an eye on those. But it's a great way to find out where you are in the world and where you're heading, essentially. Look at this little detail, by the way, for the pause menu. When you on pause, it kicks up a little steam engine. I love it. Nice little details there that really make the difference. And it looks like a lot of these smaller cities in Sweden are here, and many other countries too. Like, for example, I did not expect to see, where is it now? Skövde on here. There you go. Skövde in the middle of kind of the southern section of Sweden. And of course, Helsingborg and Göteborg and other great cities that are obviously around today. So as we continue to grow in the north, other cities in Sweden will pop up. We have Sundsvall right now, and eventually I think more cities will pop up along this road as we continue to industrialize. Oh, here we are. Yeah, now we got another city in the north, and even more. So yeah, they'll continue to pop up as we continue to mine and farm and do more things. And that'll be the same of any nation. Even if you're starting with a lesser developed nation, you'll eventually need to build cities and continue to expand. So that's pretty cool. Very, very cool indeed. All right, let's make some money. Let's continue to take advantage here. We have expensive military goods. The prices of things are fluctuating right now as we're there's a couple wars going on, so people are kind of paying and not wanting to pay. And we'll ignore some of these for now. Let's just try to, one thing at a time, focus on making some money, just so we can kind of get something done here today. We're going to open up trade, and we're already building some ports, by the way, or they are already done in Scania. I think we were ordering a couple of ports to be built. We have shipyards being built as well. It looks like one of our ports here, yeah, went from 1 to 2 with a maximum of 7. We're going to continue to make sure that we're building ports now, and we're going to try to make up for the money that we're losing by doing some more exporting. That's going to take a ton of money to do that, and it'll be okay. We got plenty of reserves, but we're going to start trading now. So let's go ahead and go to our export trade. You can see all the things we can trade in this game too, by the way. Look at this. Dye and engines. This is why I think it reminds me a lot of Anno 1800 as well. Things like engines and explosives and fabric and fish and artillery and heavy weapons and grain. All those things are tradable in that game too. So being able to trade a lot of these things by boat really reminds me of that as well as having access to trains too. Let's go ahead and start with some exports then. We have a lot of grain to export, but that's not going to make us too much money. Same with coal. We could start selling artillery to the Brits. We could do that. It's going to take a little bit of our bureaucracy, but we do need that money, so let's find out who we're going to be most productive with. The Prussians, of course, are fighting their war. So we'll kind of, you know, dip into that market a little bit. Same with the small arms if we're not doing that. We'll start selling to the Spanish as well. And we got quite a few, actually, markets to start jumping into with all these new weapons that we're making, considering our new investments in the railroad. Let's go ahead and go with a couple of those to start us off. And so, and we'll start selling the Spanish some iron. Awesome, fantastic. We can see the breakdowns of all the different things that we're trading. We have fish listed here. We have artillery. You can see whether it's coming or going, what the price is, and or we can build factories to make these ourselves rather than importing them, or export more by making more than what we need. Of course, there's local consumption too, but essentially things are export, export, export. You want to try to export as many things as you can, and then of course keep anything that you need for yourself. So long as things are going okay. It does help to make money though. It's the greatest way to make money is via trade, and so that's why we build so many trains and why we have so many ships. Alright, well, we can see our ships actually going down to some of these cities too. If we pay attention, we'll see some of them going out to port and traveling across the Baltic Sea or through the Danish straits here to the North Sea. Looks like we got a clipper cutting through, and that'll probably be picking up some materials from maybe Norway. Well, looks like it's going that way, yep. And it'll be heading back down to France. So the Norwegian's doing a little bit of trade, or maybe it's going all the way up to Russia. Who knows? Could go all the way over to Russia. Maybe. Alright, back to Sweden then. So in a matter of time, the American Civil War could pop off. That could be another market for us to trade in. We did a great job of saving up a ton of money to do these massive... Oh, hello. It looks like the United States is starting a native uprising in a diplomatic play. Hold on. Where could this be? Oh. Oh, we can actually see a breakdown of the armed forces for this force as well. I don't even know where this is. Maybe it'll list it for us on the map here. Oh, wait a minute. Are Prussia... Wait, hold on. More importantly, are Prussia and Russia at war here on the border? Never mind United States. Oh, I was looking to see if Prussia was maybe advancing to the east. They seem to be doing quite well in their war for Hanover. In just a short amount of time, they've actually won the section there closer to Denmark. Looks like they're cutting through. I think they were fighting over here for the Elbe. And Hanover, looks like they were fighting over that as well. But things have cooled off for now. We'll see if they eventually make Germany, perhaps. We'll see if they make a united Germany for the first time. It'd be interesting to see. We also have our admirals available. It looks like one of our ground generals had died due to old age. Some of the leaders here are like, yeah, 59. We had somebody, I think it was like 92 or 93 at the time of their leadership, so that'll be interesting. Ah, yeah. Let's take a look at more technology, by the way. If we go to our technology tab, if you wanted to see all the different things for production, military, and society, we can research all these things here, including basic mining operations, and then eventually doing things with more automation like rotary valve engines and pneumatic tools, the creation of plastics and nitrogen fixation. We have mechanical farming, so we're inventing the combustion engine and using that for farming as well. Automatic bottle blowers and all sorts of cool stuff. Things to do with rubber, glassware, lathes, and prospecting. And then for military, looks like the military tech tree is a little lighter, but makes some big difference here with a lot of focus on not only just kind of the line infantry, like the basic stuff of training people for Napoleonic warfare and other things along those lines, but once you get down to the tier 2, this is where it really starts with more advanced technology, especially to do with guns. So you have things like making shell guns, percussion caps, and rifling, which can make a big difference, especially when you're manufacturing those weapons. That interests us because we could start to make weapons with rifling and export those as the latest model with definite results on accuracy and whatnot, people will be ready to pay a high price. And we can move down to repeaters, and then eventually larger cannons and machine guns. So yeah, we can actually get machine guns within the game and then work down to lovely chemical warfare. How wonderful. At this moment, it would take us 67 years to research. Crazy amount of time. But we are researching. One thing I wanted to take a look at too was the last menu for society. We can also see things like banking, colonization, nationalism, labor movements, and different types of... is that camera? Oh, we could develop the camera as well under society, which would then allow us to design films. Interesting. Medical degrees. Wow. Lots of stuff. And some of these might have nation-specific setups to them, especially since they might start differently. A, they might have different things researched when you start. B, there might be different things within these research trees specific to that nation or that time period. And also, one last thing is that some of these researches might be kind of a little bit more of a bonus. For example, if we take a look here at Sweden, because of our heritage or where we are, we have Scandinavian forests, which mean that we have a plus 20% logging industry, and we have a plus like 15% iron and lead mines. So we can really export a lot more natural materials that way. So our research might be more skewed to where we go more industrialized right away, especially since we're a little behind. We have to kind of go from the earlier start all the way up to full industrialization to take advantage of that. And so like right now we're impoverished, and there's some things being built, but it's going to take a while. But hey, because we have natural harbors and forests and beautiful mines, we can export a lot of natural resources and get those onto the ships ASAP, so we can put all of our research towards boat building and ship making and also transportation, which are going to be important. And that's why things like Volvo came along, and that's why you have things like IKEA. And of course, that's why you have... there's one more thing I was thinking of related to iron, but I forgot the name of it. But anyway, some Swedish company. Well, maybe I'm thinking of... I don't know. The name escapes me. But anyway, so yeah, things are going quite good for us. And we're not doing too bad on the negative money side, considering that we're just doing an insane amount of building. So every time that we step forward a little bit, it's like 5 steps forward and 2 steps back, really. We'll complete a project and make a little more money each time, and then eventually this should be endless profits for us. So we'll get working on that soon. So it looks like our trade routes need some convoys. And we'll need to make some more ships too, which we could sell. And look at that, we have rifling unlocked now. Now we can start making weapons with that. So let's make a quick change and go to our weapons factory down here in Scania. We can take a look here at this. We can now make rifles rather than muskets. We can now make sure that we make cannons and that we have things privately owned. And it looks like we've done that as well. Another goal for us was completed. Modernize the arsenal. Alright, the Swedes want to basically turn muskets into rifles in the arms industries. And so I think that'll be... the Helsingborg arsenal shall be famed throughout the world. That's basically what we're going to do. Yep. And it looks like a lot of people are going to move down there too, so that means that we can then again enhance our cities and our workforces. Make more factories is what I'm trying to say. That's going to make us a lot more profitable. Productivity is doing real well. Although cash reserves, of course, are ripping and dipping. But could you imagine what it would be like if we didn't have trains to continuously supply them with materials like that? It's crazy. Take a look at the war. Russia, I think, has some more territory. I think they're going to try to connect here and get Hanover out of the way. If they can connect Prussia through Hanover, there's just going to be a little resistance left through Brunswick and Oldenburg. And then maybe a few small nations here they might avoid for the time being. But I'm waiting to see if the Russians bring over some more material. And or more cannons. Or a naval invasion of some sort, but I really don't see any actions from them at the moment. You'd think they would want to buy our stuff, but they're sitting that one out for it. Okay, so how are we doing with food? We've got a good standard of living, so things are good food-wise and job-wise. Literacy is improving. Oh man, things are going real well for Sweden right now. Population on the rise. Radicals also on the rise, but that happens always with time. And let's see. Oh, an unhealthy economy. Well, would you imagine that? You don't say. Wow, I'm glad they told us. But if we want to solve things this way, we can basically see who's making money and who's costing us money. With, of course, where we're building those ports, especially in Svedland and Scania, that's what's costing us the most right there. So we'll pick it up a little bit. Things will normalize, especially since we're making better guns, brother. And we'll supply them with more and more materials. So let's go ahead and make sure we're continuously making iron mines. Speed 3, I think, is good for now. So we are building more logging camps, I believe. No, we need to build more iron mines. That's what we need to do. 27 weeks. Not too long to build those, actually. And again, it'll cost us some cash, but it's a return on investment, and we need more of those iron mines, especially since some of these are really profitable and productive. So we're going to build 3 ports, 3 iron mines, and probably build another arms factory if we can. We now have 4 arms industries there. And, yeah, looks like we have an import goods shortage, so we're trying to bring in more stuff, which is exactly why we built the trains. And so we need a little bit more steel. And so we'll start to build steel mills then. We've been doing iron, and now, since we're doing more advanced weapons, we need steel. So we could finally build our first steel mill, which we could start smelting a lot of the iron here. And a steel mill will cost us quite a bit, but that's okay. We want stuff to build. So, essentially, here's how things will work. A lot of things around Sweden will come towards the area of Stockholm and northern central Sweden. Then we'll turn a lot of things into steel and ship it south, as well as wood. And then we'll start turning a lot of that steel into weapons and ship that out. And then we'll just ship out the iron raw, since we're making so much of it. And it would be great for us to have some good money. Oh, that's interesting. The Americas are now trying to create diplomatic plays in Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia. And they're trying to mess around with the Baltic region. Oh, actually, it's more than just that. Huh. These might be other countries who have interest in the Baltics. So I see like Sicily, or the 2 Sicilies, Denmark, Spain. Interesting. We'll see. Okay, well, other than that, everything's going really well for me. We have input goods shortage in the barracks. That's basically coming down to weapons as well. Now, under here, we have some more interesting things to take a look at too, like Sweden's gross domestic product, literacy, standard of living, population, radicals, and loyalists that we went over before. And then, of course, we have our money, our influence, our authority, and our bureaucracy. Different ways to earn these through different decisions and or buildings that we can build in order to generate more of that. So, for example, bureaucracy is more by building government agencies or offices within each of these sectors to collect taxes and improve quality and look for corruption, that kind of thing. And our money is mostly concerned by the markets. So I wonder if we should export some more things here. I think we're getting a little lower on convoys. But with the advanced weapons now, it might be a good idea to maybe do one more. Let's see what we can start pumping out for our small arms. The Sicilians will buy for 2, but I don't really think we want to do much more of that until we can really step up with a big trade partner. Right now, we're bouncing between like 2 and 8 into the negative. But things will even out. It's we've been down this road maybe 3 times now, and every time we continue to get drastically increased income by that. Okay, it is now 1851 going into 1852. Prussia has kind of cooled off for now. I thought it would pop off again, but it could at any time. Bavaria looking really good too, with a beautiful landscape here. And lots of mines and such, so there's probably some good trade partners for them there. And Vienna. Being the capital here, Munich being the capital of Bavaria here. We'll see what happens with them. Saxony too. Italy having yet to be united. But there's even the Vatican City down here, but no sign of the Colosseum. That's just some sort of a public-looking square. But another great thing to point out about the art style of the game, too, is that buildings in Italy kind of look like, I don't know, some of them look Parisian, some of them look like American brick buildings. But, of course, if we go over to, like, for example, somewhere in the Middle East, we have ourselves some Middle Eastern style type buildings where they certainly look much different than those found in Europe. And then the same with Asia, too, where some of the buildings will look like factories. Factories are factories. They look like brick buildings with smokestacks. But for the most part, wow, Mount Fuji here as well. Oh, what the hell? Somebody attacking? Wait, is that America opening up the door? Somebody's knocking. Anyway. But yeah, so you can see, like, for example, all the little villages, which look like that they're made of wood, and maybe there's an old Japanese castle there. Perhaps in Kyoto we could see a castle. Maybe Himeji. Beautiful, though. Hiroshima. Nagoya here. You can see all the different buildings. China, Japan, Korea, all the buildings look the same so far in the game, but it's interesting to at least see the different styles that we've identified so far. Where some of these buildings should look a little more, maybe more villagey if they're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, for example, the United States looks a little too European for some buildings, but it kind of fits. Especially in areas around Boston and Philadelphia. That far west, I would imagine. But New York, having some really Parisian-looking buildings. But maybe one day we'll see the Statue of Liberty out there. That'd be kind of cool. But I think the American buildings may change the further west that you go. Possibly. But anyway, super minor. An observation, but I still think it's cool. And I think that's really great that they put in at least different style buildings, rather than just generic brick buildings with maybe just government buildings that look more Japanese or more Ottoman, depending on where you built. Well, we also have the, is it the Hagia Sophia? I always forget how to say it, but regardless, look at that. We got, looks like a small production output bonus for paper. Actually go take a look at that. Ottoman Empire. Ooh. Oh, wait. We're in the, uh-oh. Oh, there's a war popping off here already. Oh, boy. I can't really tell who's doing what. But anyway, let's go back to, as they say, Constantinople. At the time, modern-day Istanbul. Oh, is that an orbital strike from an allied ion cannon or something from Command & Conquer Generals? What the hell? What are these tactical nukes being dropped in the middle of the desert? Strange. Cool to see, but I don't see any forces, so I don't know who's pushing where. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got cannons firing back and forth. Oh, and you can actually see the different styles here. The European style fortress versus the maybe the well, I was gonna say the Ottoman Empire style, but looks like they just lost that sector too. The British came in with some sort of a naval landing. Huh. They're a couple of years late, I think. They're getting started early, I think. But anyway, things can happen at any time, so since we've been supplying weapons to all these guys, it's certainly worth our time. So since Britain's fighting a war, and since Prussia might do it again, and since France, I don't know, I feel at any moment France is the quiet kid and could go crazy and invade America or something. I don't know. I don't want to be a part of it, but I will sell them stuff. So technically, yes, but also no. I can't be blamed. All right, let's actually go to trade routes here. Take a look at trading partners again. We could trade clippers, but not too much trade there. Nah, not too much that everybody wants to buy. There is sugar exports that we can do to the Russians for some money, but let's do some more tool exports. Let's go with the Russians, the Austrians, and I think that's it for now. We'll take those as our most productive outputs. Wow, Prussia and France trying to build more buildings. The Dutch. Let's go with a few more trade partners there for that. So yeah, since it's our main export of wood, hardwood, iron, any sort of weapons. That's what we want to stick with, and it's looking real good. Market access for Norway not looking good at 88%. You always want to try to keep market access at 100. In other words, think of it like traffic, where there's long lines for accessing like a ferry. So you want to make sure you've got roads that are wide enough, bridges that are complete, and plenty of ports and plenty of railroads to transport everybody around. So just make sure that you're funding your roads through the political lens under decrees, and then make sure that you've also built railroads as quickly as you can. I think we finished our railroads by 1850, which is not bad, starting in 1836 and trying to crawl our way up through the, the creation of all the iron mines that we've been seeing. So, all right, but now we're building even more. It's going to take a long time. 13 weeks, though. We should be able to continue our advance here. Money should be all right. We'll cut it close, but by the time we finish those mines with all the wars popping off, we should have a great surplus, and I think that'll be a great time. So I really like the, yeah, we got to gain some more bureaucracy, so we'll build some more government offices. Overall, I really like the concept of the game with long 25D chess planning. This will be really interesting. Right now, playing kind of a, you know, quiet nation of Sweden where we're just exporting to our neighbors. But once you're Prussia and you're kind of surrounded on all sides, and you're trying to import and trying to attack pretty much everyone around you to gobble up all that territory, and push your way east, and push your way west, and push your way south and north. There's going to be a lot of different fights, as well as, of course, maintaining the massive British Empire with India. And let's see, actually, I wonder if it lists all of them. Should be a way to find that. Well, they're trying to improve relations with some of their, yeah, with some of their other I guess, allies and or factions in the Commonwealth, to which we can see that this is Lower Canada is a puppet of Great Britain right now. So they're basically trying to keep relations with Australia, New Zealand, India, and parts of Canada there. And the United States creeping all the way up here. Wow. American Manitoba. That sounds like a damn cigarette brand. Have some American Manitobas, brother. Pharmaceuticals unlocked. Yay. And there's where I'm from. Pretty. Cool. Oh, Lake of the Woods. Not there. Unplayable. 0 out of 10. Just kidding. That's fine. I'm not that mad, but I appreciate the map. I appreciate the art style. I appreciate the sound effects, especially those cannons rocking off. And I really want to play some multiplayer and get a lot more experience with this game. But coming from a player who's never played Victoria before, coming from someone who's only played Crusader Kings a few times, dabbled in EU4 just a little bit, and am interested in Stellaris, but really haven't even dipped a toe into it, I think Victoria 3, because of my experience in games like Anno 1800, a little bit of enjoyment of Tropico with some of the political policies and trade that you can do there and different types of things you can manufacture, especially in those colonial days in Tropico, with Anno also having a lot of that, and of course Hearts of Iron kind of having a little bit to do with the preparation for battles and setting goals and making claims and doing political plays that way. This is a game that I'm really going to want to learn. I will probably never become a master at this game and will probably, you know, take a lot longer to do stuff, but this is a game that, because of its complexity and because of how complicated and convoluted and categorized all the different elements are, I think it's a game that's easy to learn and easy to master, but also very easy to make massive mistakes and falter. And it's just one of those games that reminds me of Risk with a little bit of luck and a little bit of ingenuity and technology. Well, that is it for today's episode, our first look on Victoria 3. If you guys want to see more of this one, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. Thank you very much for subscribing. And let me know what you think about the game down below in the comments section. Is this a game you'll buy on day one? Is this a game you want to play with your friends? Is it too complicated? Is it too simple? Is it a game that you want to see get some DLCs in the future? Do you think it could use some more content, or do you think that some things should be set up differently, or what do you think we should do here as Sweden? What should our next moves be, and what should we export and import in order to make some more money and to make our bureaucratic power rise? Well, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks again, everybody. Take care and have a wonderful day. Again, remember, the link for Victoria 3 is down below in the comments section. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.